has been a dream project for us for quite some time, and by God's grace, we've been able to make it through today. A lot of efforts have been made in making the 16 Days Activism the campaign that has come alive today, with many people behind the scene. For some of us, we've been in the front, but there are many minds and hearts and dedication that has made possible. So we want to take this moment to say thank you, and we are grateful for what you've been doing behind the scene as individuals, as organization, and as departments, and as head of the state in so many ways.
So speaking on behalf of the church today, the church is supposed to be the refuge for victims of violence. But at times, the church becomes the perpetrator by remaining silent and by fear of taking sides. Sadly, there are cases in Nagaland where church leaders themselves have committed such crimes. These people are wolves in sheep's clothing. They have preyed on the sheep who have innocently given their trust to them, leaving their hopes shattered, destroying the basic foundations of Christian ethics and living. These things are happening in our churches due to lack of sound theological teachings on justice, Christian ethics, and human morality. Some excuses the churches make. The church lacks training or its expertise. It is a legal matter and therefore outside the domain of the church. Male preeminence is sanctioned by the scripture. It is part of the fallen world. The perpetrator is not from our denomination, etc. It is a high time that we challenge these attitudes of indifference towards suffering of women. Another thing which is a misconstrued idea of forgiveness, the phrase forgive and forget. This slogan has been misunderstood, misinterpreted, in a sense that Christians are meant to forgive despite any wrong committed against them, which, when one is forgiven, it doesn't mean that the legal punishment is cancelled. Forgiveness is indeed remembrance, actually, remembering that we also have been forgiven by God. So it is not forgetting. Forgiveness is a gift, not an achievement. Forgiveness is a gift that can be offered, especially when one has been wronged, but also a struggle to achieve, recognizing the painful but joyous potential of both the offerer and the people who receive. So thinking of easily forgetting is not the best idea. When Jesus said, "Do not resist an evil person. If someone strikes you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also," in Matthew 5:39. This is said in the context of a right-handed man striking another person on the right cheek, like this. It assumes a backhanded slap, which is an insult those days. Jesus is asserting that do not accept a slap with an insult. Rather, turn the other cheek and let him hit you with a full blow, which assumes another slap, but receiving with equality. So Jesus is telling us to take a stand in such case, a stand of dignity as an equal. This is creative resistance. In return, you do not retaliate, but you took a stand by offering yourself as an equal. We also must face unwelcome truth. Many of the attacks on the church comes from women who have experienced great pain in their lives, either because someone in the church have caused the pain, or they found the church important in response. As Christians, we're meant to be burden bearers. We're meant to have a heart for the hopeless, for the weary, for the abused. And yet the church needs to do better. in this area. In the meantime, there are also people who are used to blame the church for every petty fault they find in the society. For them, the church becomes the soft target to release their emotional baggages accumulated over years seasoned with unmet desires. The NBCC is committed in advocating for the right of people who suffer violence and injustice. But be it domestic, gender, or political violence, the Social Concern Department, which is my department, will work hand in hand with organizations and institutions who are championing the cause of the downtrodden, the suppressed, victims and survivors of gender-related violence. We must challenge the power structures if in any case, any faith-based organizations are sheltering perpetrators. We need to critically examine and change leadership structures within the church that can perpetuate a culture of abuse and subordination.
At the outset, I would like to extend my warm greetings and sincere appreciation to Prodigal's Home for organizing this important program in collaboration with the state government and our public organizations from Dimapur to Mukadima and Newland under the thoughtful curation of Parent Touch and with the support of Northeast Council. Your collective effort to bring people together for such a vital cause is truly commendable. Atrocities against women remain one of the most pressing moral and social challenges of our time. Every incident of violence, whether it is physical, emotional, economic, systematic, or on the digital space, strikes at the very core of human dignity. It silences potential, instills fear, and undermines the fundamental rights that every woman deserves by virtue of being a human. Violence against women is not confined to one community, class, or region. It is a pervasive issue that demands our action, our empathy, and above all, our action. For every survivor who speaks out, there are many who continue to suffer in silence, held back by stigma, fear, or lack of support. It is our responsibility to create an environment where every woman feels safe to seek help, to heal, and to reclaim her life. Even as we speak of these challenges, the recent murder of Ms. Wihojono Zhao, which shook the conscience of our society and disturbed the peace of everyone, is a painful reminder of the urgency with which we must act to protect our women and ensure that justice is delivered without delay. Collective effort is essential. Families, communities, institutions, and governments must stand united to challenge harmful norms, strengthen protective systems, and ensure justice is swift and uncompromising.
I was a little bit confused when she said that 16 days activism though actually I was quite shocked and surprised when she said that. So we need to know what is this 16 days activism against gender-based violence. This activism against gender-based 16 days activism against gender-based violence is an annual international civil society-led campaign and which commenced on 25th of November. Today it's already 29th of November. And this International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women will end on 10th of December, coinciding with Human Rights Day, which highlights the violence against women is the most pervasive breach of human rights worldwide. And this campaign, it was launched by activists in the inaugural Women's Global Leadership Institute in 1991 and has since been mobilized individuals and organizations, including the United Nations and partners worldwide, to advocate for the prevention and eliminations of violence against women and girls. And today, under the theme, Unite to End Digital Violence, using the orange color as our theme, as our color. And what does this orange color symbolize? Everybody of us, we have died in our wreaths, and it's a hope, a call to break the silence, reject indifference, and affirm a future free from violence. And each year, every campaign focuses on the specific theme. Like, as I've already said, the theme for this 16 Days of Activism 2025 is Unite to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls. And when we talk about this Unite, this theme, you know, it's a global human rights emergency that must stop. Women Commission, we have come across many cases, many sexual harassment cases, many domestic violence cases, attempt to rape, attempt to murder, and of all that, we have come across many cybercrime cases. There were some cases, you know, which involves a people, culprits staying in some other places, in some other state, taking the pictures of the victim where she is staying, even clicking the pictures of the door saying that, see, I know your location, where you are staying, how you are sleeping, what you are eating. That was a case that we came. Okay, it's a very, very high profile case as well. And in such cases, when such victim approach an individual or an organization or the Women Commission, we should make sure that the victims are well protected. So such cases also we have received. And just recently we have in the latter part, our speaker, madam, will be speaking also, the cybercrime, you know, a harassment, passing a very vulgar and derogatory remarks to one of our reputed founder of Nagaland Mother Association, Madam Rosemary. She is here present today. I'm sure she will be speaking on that also in the later part when she will be speaking. That is also a cybercrime. That's it. Just an example. So this online and digital space, actually in real sense, it should empower women and girls, not only women and girls, but in general for every one of us, both men and women. But yet, every day, for millions of women and girls, as women and girls are very, very vulnerable section of the society, they are being targeted. And this digital world has become a minefield of harassment, abuse, and control.
In their workplace. So this is happening. Then we have cases of sexual assault, molestation, kidnapping, abduction, children-related cases. Then we have a good number of cases of human trafficking. It is a reality, you know, and working closely with the perpetrators, working closely with the victim, with the police, we learn that in some way or the other, online platforms are being used as a ground to target women, thereby leading to cases of human trafficking. And when I say one case, I don't mean one victim. I don't mean that we have rescued one. When I say one case, there was a case when we saw, you know, quite a lot of women being rescued, and we were called from some other cities, from some other courts, seeking us, as needing, you know, requesting our assistance, saying, please keep them, you know, till we do something with the legal process and all that. We saw quite a lot of women, imagine, our women being trafficked in other states. It is a reality, it is sad, and it is happening. Then we have cases of mischief, blackmail, threatening, cheating, and fraud. So quickly going to the case data. Women Helpline, over this past, you know, almost 10 years, we have received lakhs and lakhs of calls. But out of those calls, 2,07,987 calls, incoming and outgoing, I mean in total. These are calls made relating to women, imagine. And I repeat, we are we kind of people, you know. We suffer no matter what has taken place, murder, rape, sexually harassed, whatever. We choose to forgive. I was like, I just heard what I want to do this morning. Yeah. Forgiveness, it's good, it's great, you know. For me, I practically cannot forgive, you know. How can I? It keeps coming back, you know. It's in my mind, it's here. But we are women, we are we kind of women. When I say and I mean it, she's, you know, distressed. We have women where men, they try to bring other women in the house and try to dwell in under the same roof. Women still choose to forgive. For the sake of the children, they're gonna do everything and I listen to you, I listen to her. Sometimes I get really, I get boiled up. Why are you not doing anything? But she would just end up saying, please don't do anything for me. Now I'm feeling better, sharing my grievances, telling you what I went through, I'm feeling better, so, thank you for your help kind of thing. So out of those calls, I could only register 3,408 cases. I cannot force them. Doing so, forgiveness, keeping quiet, bearing the consequences, it is a great thing. I mean, it's good, it's divine, I don't think I can do it, but we have also seen the children of that very domestic violence victim landed up ending, offenses. Do you think is it a good environment for your children? Your husband bringing another wife to your house and trying to say it is normal, you have to bear it, and I'm the man and you're the woman, and you take control of the children. The son has landed up in jail. We are helpless. Is it the right decision? Is it good enough? I think we need to ponder upon it once. Out of the 3,408 cases, 537 cases were critical cases. Imagine 537 critical cases. With 158 cases of domestic violence or cases relating to digital violence. Quickly going to the one-stop centers. One-stop centers, it provides physical intervention and a shelter. Altogether, we have a total number of 1,703 cases registered. Almost all cases are critical in nature, hence people go looking for physical intervention. With 55 cases of digital violence, altogether the consolidated data speaks for itself. If you go looking to a police station, I'm not saying the police are not doing their job and all, but it is just because our women doesn't go. Our women still, I know our women now, if not everything, half of it. I know half of our women. They call, they're in trouble, they're raped, but they don't even want to go. I cannot force them. They don't go, so cases are not reported. If you go to a police station or anywhere else, you will not find this data. This data speaks for itself. It shows that something is happening. Something wrong is happening. Something is not right, and we must start, to voice out and take actions. With a total of 213 cases of cybercrime in one-stop centers and the women helpline.
We are victimizing our own partners, our own gender. We don't have to wait for the male, actually. The first victimizing is done by ourselves. A lot of experience, a bad experience happened. And I really learned, I'm thrilled to ask this question because today, the 10% male, 90% female. What are we doing? We don't even have to ask our other gender, male also. Workplace, we'll start bitching about each other. Child-related case to do, it's going on. Empathy equal to 9. And if the case is from the other states, interstate cases, itu case to cari di na. Visual lagi na, Are we waiting to happen to our family? So that time we wake up and say that, we have to fight for this. And it's happening. It's happening. Because we always say that we are building the future. But what about the present? That is a question to be asked. Because each day when we are receiving a case, a call at 998, and going for the interventions, as a grassroots worker, we come back demotivated. What can 1098 staff do? As per the roles and responsibility, rescue, support person if needed, CWC production, our hands are clean. What next? We have intervened cases where like a police personnel from a higher authority came down just to say that ito bacha la age uthai dibi na. Not even male. That's a sad reality. Victim issue, the Mohan issue, the domestic helper, the Amiano, highest number female. Because girl child are very good. Go sapa ko paredo. Tan issue, the bacha is ho paredo. The domestic helper, female child, girl child. Baba mawi sapi nai. Ani vi kun hoye ta ni je kun hoye mota bacha ushi jo ni jo sore rakhiyo lage. That is happening. It's happening. But I'm not saying that male child are not being abused. No, they have been abused. As per our case data, they have been abused. One suicide case, 9-year-old girl child in Kohima. 9 years. But still then everybody, we are waiting for our turn to happen in our family, in our community. Community that we share, we'll go for a rally. That is, at the moment, it's trending for the past few years. After that, no one. No one is there to ask, "Idu bacha lo de ki hushi? Kini ga hushi? Ki istu kunya hushi shi bacha lo de? Tagi ko de rakhi na se." So it is not a blame game today. It is the reality. That it is going to happen in our homes someday, and it has started.
It's a much shunned, rarely acknowledged reality. It is happening to our girls, to young women, and to older women. Age is no bar. It is happening to our homemakers as they're going into their daily activities in the daytime. It is happening to our college girls as they're returning back from their class in the afternoon. It is happening to our working women. Maybe they've come back from the gym after work and then late in the evening, they've experienced some sort of harassment. Anywhere and anytime, women are vulnerable to some form of violence or harassment, and the perpetrators more often than not are males. Yet our society doesn't hesitate to put the blame on the lady. It could be the attitude, we have a way of saying, Maiki Khanto, Maiki Khan Nishna Thagibolage, or the tone of her voice, oh, she's so aggressive. It could be her outfit, we have so many things to say about the outfit. And worst of all, it is just the nature, the state of being a female. It is happening within the four walls of our home. It is happening on the streets. It is even happening in her workplace. And the workplace was where one Miss Bhanwari Devi, a rural change agent in the state of Rajasthan, was when she was gang raped by several men who had been harassing her for her work that she was doing in the state of Rajasthan for stopping child marriages. She had reported this issue of harassment to her concerned authority, but they did not take action. Now, why this case is relevant is because this case showed India what could happen, the extent of harassment that can happen in the workplace, how it could escalate to gang rape or even murder, So this case led to a public interest litigation being filed in the Supreme Court of India, and it resulted in the formation of what we now know as the Vishaka Guidelines in the year 1997. This Vishaka Guidelines is what has provided the initial legal framework for addressing sexual harassment in the workplace. Till then, there was no law to address sexual harassment in the workplace in our country. So subsequently, in the year 2013, the government of India notified the POSH Act consistent with the Vishaka Guidelines. So the POSH Act is significant, and this is very important because it recognizes that sexual harassment results in violation of the fundamental rights of a woman to equality under Articles 14 and 15 of the Constitution of India, and her right to life and to live with dignity under Article 21 of the Constitution, and right to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade, or business, which includes a right to a safe environment free from sexual harassment. This act is significant because it ensures confidentiality of the complainant, a time-bound redressal mechanism, and penalties for non-compliance of the act. This act, the SPOSH Act, applies to all women, regardless of age, employment type, sector. It includes full-time employees, part-time employees, interns, volunteers, consultants, and even domestic workers. As per the POSH Act, very briefly, sexual harassment includes unwelcome physical contact, sexually colored remarks, use of obscene language in the workplace, showing of pornography, requests for sexual favors, or any other unwelcome, verbal, non-verbal, or physical conduct of a sexual nature. It can happen in the physical sphere, and now increasingly it is happening in the digital sphere. So the key words here are unwelcome behavior against a woman.
Itu amihan pula Christianity na hatamde naga manu kaca na kaca hatam debe itu time to hulbi naga manu dole itu maiki mange protect kredo safe kredo respect kredo tamde kitte bi endia bia jagade nole manibora maribo nole kaki nole jabo enera naito Boila dole bosti Christianity na hatam dole kacha thagatam dole bosti lagai koido ejun na matha katedo itu tande holbi maiki manke bi safe kore protect koido kheti kame ase boila dole school nai ekuri nai kumi education nai church proto nai Christianity hanai to kheti jadobi maiki khan mota khan ekilo gotebi ja to mota khan dole boila dole bondhu bi nai खाली स्पीयर आरो ताओ इतु हसदे तो इतु लोगिने लड़ाई करे तो खेती जाले भी माइके हंगे सेट हो करने स्पीयर ताओ लहन आगे माइके हंगे तो ले 20 इतु खाना समा ताके बुझे बुझे आरो मोटा खान आरो स्पीयर ताओ आरो पीछे ने कोनी खेती भी जाने काम कोगिने राती दे आरो आहादन भी एनेगा सेम पोजिशन एनेगा कोनी बस्ती पुंजे तो आरो bosti kheti de ja tangale bosti de maiki khan bacha khan asto aro itu khan bi sabole ruki bole wire de itu press work khan itu etum montano itu larai de para khan special khan aro bacha ne itu bosti bi rokhai ne maiki khan potte bole sek ne ahiside ener bole bhar nim poila ekku Christianity na thagadan mi kacha thagadan mi eniga maiki man de sek bole ahisido Energone etum maiki mandule dupa mole enega kiba enega sorum kotha hoja enega ekta bi nade kintu ajikali tole bishi ala gose bishi manu qualify gose pura lekha bishi ho jose holebi biala kam to bishi ahi jase do aro ekta point itu second point wala itu mo amihan naga kosto menlo debi itu thakide amihan na kotebi kitaba ahini itu bi fasla koride itu mota maiki sadi hose ta dujin aro nam miligine itu divorce ho jase jita ajikale last time hose bole dole he kotha na mane itu enega bole dujin chara jase saman ekta bi na du taige ki maiki manu ki grow paribo ha itu laido bolebi ami hala for father han bole enega nindebi eta naide itu by chance tai du kotha na nigine chara chari hose ki hose bolebi itu ami han angamla kotha de sheza we itu na amistiki kuwa ari nistiki kuwa ami to binido lawa na jana ase bolebi enega itu bolebi itu sheza hose na hanai itu
Television, digital media in Nagaland's context started 5 years ago.
2021, and my journey also started then. And since then, I have been subjected to such bullies and such violence. When I ask many of the female journalists working here in Nagaland who comes on screen almost every day, all of them also are being subjected to such bullies one way or the other. Just yesterday I called up some of my friends from my own media house, from other media houses, and all of them said that they feel bullied digitally, especially in the comment section, and some even take it to our own personal social media accounts as well, Instagram, Facebook, and even WhatsApp. Without our consent, they get our numbers, they start texting us. Very bad. And you know, one of my friends said that many a times for men, good or bad, if I'm a male anchor, the comments are mostly based on my quality. I should speak better, I should talk louder, his English should be better. But for women, that is not the case. Many a times, she has big breasts, she's becoming fat, she's too thin, you know. Those are the comments we get. So, like I'm saying, this is the difference between the bullies we face online as someone who comes on screen, your household homes, almost every day. You know, while studying, while preparing myself for journalism, I was only being taught on how I should talk well, talk to people, come on screen, deliver my news, and say my goodbyes and come again the next day. But how to face digital violence, how dealing with, you know, I was dealing with sexual violence, dealing with digital abuse came out of the context. So right now, 5 years, and I don't think I've equipped myself well, even now with digital violence. And many of you will ask me, okay, first let me show you the comment section, then I'll talk about what I did about it. Okay, as he's preparing, yeah, and the impacts, okay. This is my first time using it. Yeah. Okay. Let me read it out loud because this is reality and I don't think it is nothing to be ashamed of, because everyone who is checking the comment section will be seeing all of these comments every day. And these are the comments under my reports. Yeah, I had, truth to be told, I had to go back yesterday to my videos and search for such comments. One comment, I like grown up mangoes. Nichire, someone feasting over that comment, malu size. Moito ki krela ki ba saidena muja lage. These are the realities, okay? Muja lage, we already know what they're talking about. Anti-reporter la melons to chotu noire. Nichire, komti noe must have been through a lot of massage. These are the comments. Next, man, you are such a great reporter and you have a big heart. See, all of this feasting on the top comment that you got. These other comments, just read it. These other comments, they are feasting. And you know what? The hard reality, there is no one defending. This shouldn't be spoken about. This shouldn't be talked about. There is no one defending this comment there, if you see. Next, 2 big reasons to follow her. Big reason, need 2 bigger cameras. Last but not the least, why I'm not blurring the username is because many times people are aware that these comments being given are wrong. That's why they use fake profiles to comment. See, if you see, all of these are fake profiles used just to give such comments. Whenever I see this reporter, my little brother always wakes up. And you know what? This is on YouTube, okay? Anyone who goes to my reports and check, this will be there. And see, like I said, I don't know, men, women, whoever they may be, like our earlier speaker said, some are also women, many are women, feasting on the top comment. No one is defending both mouths. We all know it very well from you. See, laughing emojis. This is the last comment. This is the reality of Nagaland right now. And like I said, I'm one of the victims. What are the consequences of these comments? The person who commented, yeah, if I decide to take legal action, he might get into trouble. But what are the consequences on me as a victim? Self-image issues, you know. Earlier in my initial days, I was quite okay wearing the clothes I want to wear. I wear whatever I want to wear as long as it is appropriate, worthy to come on camera. Now, you know what? I
decide to wear loose clothes just so my body isn't shown, you know. Those are the kind of consequences on victims, okay? And mind you, when I talk about this comment section, thousands of female journalists are subjected to such violence. And also reality, if we're talking about Nagaland's context, 7% of the female journalists feel objectified on screen. So this is the reality of Nagaland.
And I also am a member of many social media groups, but I never knew we had a Facebook group that had 22,000 members. Can you believe? This is a Facebook group called Chronicles of the Nagas. See, I mean the kind of crime that it enlarges into, where he may not kill me, the person may not kill you, but it entices and it, sort of influences other people to watch out for you and kill you. And it's so defamatory and so derogatory. I've never met him in my life. And you have this gentleman, and he's not a young man. I got so mad because when this, it's subjudice, but I'm still talking about it because I'm angry. When this case started, it was not the accused trying to defend himself. Do you know what was defending him? The police. The police trying to tell me, he's mad. He's mad. I'm not going to accept it. No. He will have to prove that he's mad. What is this nonsense, no? You're inciting violence, hatred, threatening to kill all Naga women, young and old, who talk about women's rights. This is the threat he gave. And then you're trying to excuse that this man is mad. How can you say that? Where are the medical papers? What is this? And why is the police doing that? The job of the police is to investigate. I wish the police were sitting here today. The job of the police is to investigate. The job of the police is not to speak for the victim, and to speak for the accused. This case is ongoing. And the tussle was, I'm just going to end there and then I'm going to talk about my concerns, because I don't want to make myself very famous. But one irritating thing is that we need to know our rights, all of us. We must know that when a crime is committed, you have a right to file in the town you are living. I may be living in Mon, so what? I'll file in Mon. I may be living in Kipere, so what? You file there. You're supposed to file there, have the case there, and it is supposed to be like that. But in my case, I could not understand it. I'm from Kohima village. In my case, they brought down the case to Dipupar, where the guy supposedly lives. So you can just imagine what happened to me. I'm someone who's never going to listen to you, because I know my rights. And therefore the tussle was not between the accused and me, but it was between the police and me. Okay, after the crime is done, it is now between the police and me. The police are forcing me to come down to Dipupar. I even got a threat letter from the OC Dipupar. Who is he? I really don't care. But we have to know our rights. He sends me a letter from Dipupar. I've never seen his face. And he tells me, you come to Dipupar police station and appear before 12 o'clock that day, or this. Never in my life, as a human rights defender for many years, because I looked after the Human Rights Law Network and worked with lawyers from across the country, I have never seen such a letter. And so that is going to be among my recommendations, my main concern. When you receive you're already under threat, and that with death threat, and then you receive a letter also from the police threatening you to come down to Dimapur, where I don't live. And I don't like Dimapur because I'm a pakka Barabasti wala, I come to Dimapur, I rush back to Kohima. I come to Dimapur, it's too hot, I'm going back, When friends plead and, say, let's have a good evening, come and sit back. I said, no, I don't like Dimapur, I'm going back to Kohima. So with that kind of a mentality, I've grown up. My mother never spoke Nagamese, and she hated Nagamese, and towards the end of her life, she was literally speaking all kinds of Nagamese to her laborers. And I also have problems with Nagamese, Now I promote Nagamese to Burmese Nagas. And we are trying to bring a project, trying to decipher Nagamese for the Burmese Nagas who speak only in Nagamese. But my Nagamese is terrible. So, in the midst of all this, the tension has been big because now it is not between this young gentleman who is in custody, but between me and the police. Now, who do the police want to protect is my question. Who are they protecting? I'm also better than a policeman. In my weeks of silence, I have found out everything I want to know about this man. Totally connected to top politicians. So I am angry. As a victim, I'm angry, but I want to see justice. Like me, there will be many other hundreds of young women. Stand up. No one can do this to you. We have to stand up. And until we stand up, society will not hear. I'm really, really grateful to the Women Commission who came all out to help me with legal advice. So many, show cause notices, even to the top police official, to the DGP. Imagine, in such a case, whoever gives a show cause notice to the DGP. So don't glorify this DGP anymore. I've seen on social media the kind of glorification we're giving. What is he doing there, sitting there? So our whole system in the state is politicized. The whole system is politicized. We must break this. We must break this where justice must come to a victim, to any situation, to a young girl, to an old mother, whatever. Justice must come rising above politics. Otherwise, at the rate we are going on, violence against women, this is all a big tamasha for them. For the men who sit in authority, for the men who don't care about what's happening or what you are feeling. Many organizations, I was surprised myself. I thought I was the most unpopular person in Nagaland because of the women reservation. I had so many tribe leaders who were cursing me for years till we got the women reservation done. And so I know where I stand and I know what's happening. But the amount of support that came from so many organizations, individuals, friends whom I thought had died called me up again, saying, hey, we are here, what's this? And it made me feel guilty because I thought, my God, I never thought of them, I never called them, and my friends are still there. So I think it's very, very important to understand that women's rights is here to stay. No amount of threats, no amount of death threats or whatever is going to influence us, and we must put an end to this kind of digital violence. And my main concern is also the fact that in one of these Facebook groups, which is Unified Nagaland for Christ, I'm sure some of you might be members there, is that this guy managed to post in both because he was a moderator and administrator in the group, so no one could stop him. But interestingly, one of the guys, the administrator in the Unified Nagaland for Christ group, is the same gentleman who wrote terrible things about S.C. Jamir's wife, if you remember, and who wrote about all our women being, this and that. Now, why is he still sitting there? He's still sitting there because we forgave him. We have all these community meetings, isn't it? And then we forgive. But he's still sitting there as an administrator of this Facebook group that allowed these kind of terrible death threats, I will kill her, I will fix her kind of thing. He's still sitting there in that group as an administrator. So in my FIR, I have asked that these administrators also be investigated. And this is the reality of digital violence. I'm a grandmother, don't think I'm a young woman. Huh? I'm a grandmother, and I was thinking, what's the problem with this young man? After so many years of teaching and giving my best, what grudge does he have? He's not only talking about women reservation. He's connected to a lot of other things. And that is why till today, the case stands. I'm not withdrawing the case. I've had people coming to me, half are the young women who call me up and says, Madam, please don't withdraw. Please don't withdraw because the same thing will happen to us. And on the other side, I have the older ones saying, forgive him, you're a mother. I may be a mother, but I know how to fight my rights. Being a mother doesn't mean you forgive just like that. Let him have the guts to tell why he did it, who bought him, who paid him, who pays all these digital savvy people on screen to write terrible things about their opponents, especially politically too. Who pays them? Who gives them this kind of money? This is the reality of Nagaland. And I think you must remember and think what I'm talking about.
I stand representing my own tribe and working with the tribal man, working where Naga society is a patriarchal society. We cannot forget that. And working with man is not easy. Every day is a challenge because for them, we kind of understand that they have the attitude that man is the head of the family and women must listen. And before me, there were a lot of leaders maybe they did not speak out. Maybe they did not question when a resolution were made, when rules were made, But after I took over, I started questioning on many things, which became very uncomfortable for them. So on that level, I also go through a lot of challenges in my life. But today, I think we're running way too late, so I'll just read out whatever I have to share, and I believe that I will be able to connect with every person seated here. Today I stand before you with a deep sense of responsibility and hope. We gather here not just to speak about women empowerment and the elimination of violence, but to reaffirm the truth that has always existed within our Naga society, that a community cannot rise if its women are held back, silent, or unsafe. Naga society has always been known for its courage, its dignity, its resilience. Our ancestors believed in harmony, shared responsibilities, and collective progress. Yet, as we evolve, we must also acknowledge the realities that challenge us today, realities that prevent many of our women and girls from living with dignity and freedom they deserve. Violence against women is not only physical. It comes in many forms: emotional, economic, cultural, and structural. It exists in the silence we are pressured to maintain, in the opportunities denied, in the fear that controls our choices, and in the attitudes that normalize discrimination. To change this, we must first accept that the problem exists within us, not outside us, not in some distant societies, but right here in our homes, our villages, and even in our institutions. Naga women have always been the backbone of our society. They run our homes, our fields, our communities, and in many ways, they hold together the fabric of a Naga life. But backbone is not the same as voice. Strength is not the same as power. Contribution is not the same as recognition. Empowering women means giving them the space to lead, the freedom to speak, the right to participate, and the opportunity to strive. Not because they need permission, but because it is their rightful place. Protection of women cannot be the responsibility of women alone. Men must become allies. Tribal bodies must become guardians. Churches must become safe space. Leaders must become examples. Families must become the first teachers of respect. Violence does not end with punishment alone. It ends when a society refuses to tolerate it in any form. If we want change that lasts, we must educate our girls and boys with equality at the center.
And let me tell you from experience, a single word can go a really long way. Words can really destroy you. And yet we are told to just suck it up because, this is our profession, so we should be used to it. But I think that is just a stupid way of justifying shitty behavior. So one of the first victims of internet bullying in Nagaland, definitely the Tetsio sisters, they have been called every name under the sun. Interestingly, when you want to bully a woman, you call her a whore. You want to bully a man, you call him gay. You don't call a woman gay or a man a whore, because that goes against the principles of internet bullying, whatever principle they are operating with. And all these words they're just rooted in misogyny. When they're calling a man gay, they're trying to say that this man is not masculine enough. And when they call a woman a whore, they're trying to say that you have been used and discarded by so many men. It is just all centered around our relation to men. For example, when they laugh at you and call you an unmarried woman, they're trying to say that, you are not worthy enough to be a man's wife. But what if the woman is not able to find a man worthy enough to be her husband? No one thinks about that. It's just everything is from the male perspective. And I know there's a very popular belief that women are jealous of each other and women are always trying to pull each other down. But at my lowest moments, it is my female friends who have pulled me out of whatever shit I have been in. Societal constructs always try to pit us against each other. But once we just move out of this mindset, we realize how nourishing and important for our emotional well-being female friendships are. There is so much beauty in seeing women uplift women. And this is something we are starting to do. Things are changing. We are starting to create for ourselves. We are starting to create for women. We are encouraging each other to grow, not because we want to attract the attention of a man, like how it was in the olden days, but because we want to be the best versions of ourselves. We have started to decenter men from our lives, and that is so important. So I make a lot of sketches and videos for social media, mostly comedy, and when I write these sketches, I write them from a very female perspective with the intention of making a woman laugh. I really don't care if a man watches my videos and calls me unfunny. I'm like, if you find me unfunny, very good, you go follow some male influencer. Go outside, you just go, but don't come to my page. That is it. My target audience is women and gay men, because that is the audience that makes me feel safe. And imagine in social media where it's impossible for someone to come and physically hurt you, I am still thinking about my safety. And this is a very common thing that's happening. A lot of women creators on social media are creating for women. Women are shaping their content to make sure that it reaches a female audience. And this is nothing new. We have always been thinking about our safety. This is something we have grown up with. We have always been told to dress appropriately so we do not arouse a man. We have always been told to come home by a certain time so that we do not get harassed. From a young age, we are taught and conditioned to behave a certain way because boys will be boys, but girls should always be careful. I honestly believe that if we raised our boys the way we raise our girls, our society would be so much better. It is a privilege to be born a man because you do not have to worry You don't have to spend a huge chunk of your life worrying about your safety. As women, we don't have a choice but just to be hyper vigilant at all times, to the point that we sound crazy, we sound neurotic. I live alone in Mumbai, and when I have electricians or plumbers coming to my house, somehow I'll always bring up a sentence, a conversation, and talk about, and just lie and talk about my husband and say, oh, my husband will be coming from, my husband is not here, so my husband prefers it this way. But that's it. A man will only respect another man's property, his wife, but a man will not respect a woman, you know? And it sounds stupid, but I'd rather be stupid than unsafe, you know? And like, for example, it's a very common thing for women to tell each other, text me once you reach home so I know you are safe. I don't think men say that to each other, because sexual harassment is way down in the list of things that men should be worried about. I don't think a man walks in the middle of the street at night one day like, oh, what if a woman attacks me? No, I don't think a man is thinking like that. A woman walking in the middle of the street, you see a man coming, you're just like, okay, you're just in a position to either punch him, and you know what to do. You're just like, okay, punch him between the balls, that's the most sensitive area. Punch him in the nose, very sensitive area. You are just in hyper, we sound neurotic. But what to do if your safety is compromised? That is how you have to think, you know. And because we have been made to be like this. That is why when cases of rape are reported, women are the ones who are most emotionally affected. Remember about that pastor who raped young boys recently? And he escaped. I don't know, we just escaped. When the news came out, the women were angry, we were furious. Like, how dare this monster do this? But the reaction of the men was very disappointing. They were more concerned with the fact that he was gay. That's all. That was the focal point. They were not even saying, no, he was not a pedophile, he was a gay pedophile. And then, the fact that this is a Naga man walking amongst us committing this crime, somehow the weight was just not there anymore because he's gay, I am not gay, this is gay problem. And that's how they just distance themselves from the whole issue. And, people even made jokes about it, lots of homophobic jokes came out. I saw men making jokes about it, and then the seriousness of the matter was just I don't know what happened to it. So, if men can't even defend their own gender at the time of an assault, how do you expect us to depend on you to defend us? We have zero trust in you because of the way you behave. We empathize with the victims because we know what it is to be at the receiving end of sexual harassment, because it is a lived reality for us. But for men, it is just a newspaper headline or a statistic. Sexual harassment against women is not treated seriously because women are not treated seriously.
And cautious. It was the longest vacation for her after what happened that night. She stayed aloof and was reluctant to go to the village again. Her grandparents' house was covered in thatch from top to bottom with no windows. The kitchen was usually dark. The only light was the fire made for cooking, and sometimes they burned pine wood for light. At that time, it was their only source of life, as there was no electricity or candle in the village. The darkness in the kitchen resembled her fear and the darkness in her life at that point of time. Let me also read one poem. Suddenly, a total darkness engulfs me. I feel cold. I can't feel the sun. I'm drawn towards the darkness.
I choose black and gray over colors. Nothing makes sense to me today. I'm sad for no reason. All I could think was that I feel like I'm trapped here forever. I see no way out to get out of here. Will I ever make it out of this place? There's a little light at the other end. Will I ever make it through? I don't have the strength to even walk and reach the end of the tunnel, feeling suffocated in this cold, dark place. But I cannot find my way out. Lord, lead me through this dark place. This is the story, the real story of a person that experienced the life journey of a person, and that is me. Sexual abuse can take place at the most unexpected moment, place, and from the most unexpected people. Mostly the people close to us. People who love us, people whom we love and respect. It is a form of attack that can cripple a person physically and mentally. I was molested for the first time at the age of 12, and it did not stop there. I came across sexual abuse many a time.
Hearing the stories that we have heard today, till the last one, how many of us, even men like us who are here, who are presumed to be safe men, good men and boys, also remain silent and just watch things happening. If it is my sister, I will go out, all out. If it is my daughter, I will go all out, even give my life. But it is because it is someone else's sister and daughter, and therefore I just read the story, just watch the video, or listen to the news. And it is also because if I stand up there, raise my voice, support the girl there who is a victim, my own friends, people who know me, will again start attacking me, come on my page, on my comment. And so many men choose to be silent. We need boys and men to raise up their voice. These are the realities that we're seeing. Women and girls are being silenced when they speak up because it is considered shameful or too sensitive, or simply because you are girls, you are women, you are silenced. I've seen meetings, community meetings, where women are also office bearers or equally members, and in villages, wrap around the shawl, cover up their mouth, all looking down and just quietly listening, sitting through the meeting and have nothing to say. Even if they have something to say, they are hushed. They are even stopped, even scolded. Just being there is good enough time. A lot of things happening, but many of us men choose to be silent, looking away, even laughing at the jokes, staying neutral in the WhatsApp groups, other social media platforms, not wanting to get involved, just like I just said. But silence is also a form of support. If you don't see it, if you don't hear it, a different story. But when we see it also, when we read it also, we are right there in the group, physically also sometimes, but we are silent. That's supporting the harassment or the abuse. Violence against women is real, including even in our Christian homes. We have friends, the sisters here from other faith also. What an example that we are showing. Christian homes are supposed to be, truly Christian homes are supposed to be the most loving, caring, kind, safe homes, where every daughter, son, father, mother, including the relatives and the neighbors are supposed to be safe. And today in our own homes also we are not safe, especially the girls. Our culture, our systems, and sometimes even our churches have often favored men and silenced women. Not just homes, but even in churches, this is happening. And we, the men, have benefited from this kind of imbalance now and again. And we seem to be happy. This is not about blaming all men, but it is about owning responsibility. True change can happen if we can say that we no longer pretend this is not happening, but I see it, or I will open my eyes and see. We're no longer ignorant, we're fully aware. Just that we don't have that kind of statistics, data that has been shown. Shocking. But we know that it's happening. It's high time that we open our eyes. You, the girls, the women, for some of you, we just had our sister sharing her story. Heartbreaking. But what a courage to have come back, not just shared in a small group, but even to have written a book on it. This bravery only transformed men and women, despite the failures or the harassment or the views, whatever the level. If you have overcome that, if you are transformed, mind and heart transformed, can come out that way and share. Victims who continue to struggle, who continues to be victimized, and are struggling to overcome. It's difficult to come out, even to share to their parents or friends. And so, if there are more victims here who have overcome, it's important for winners to share their stories, because many do not have this kind of guts. If you can write, write. Can share, share. Whichever way. Changing our hearts and homes, where partnership begins. We have to get back to basics. I came to know the Lord in my first...
Struggling to cope. What are we learning from this story? Through this story, it underscores the importance of underlying parental vigilance and proactive protection of children. We, the parents, are to be attentive. The changes we see in our children's behavior should be addressed promptly. Let's prioritize their safety. As parents, our responsibility is fleeting because we keep our eye on our children when they are only dependent on us. After 20, they can be independent. But our vigilance is below 20. Children often cannot speak up. But if you see any discomfort in them, if you see any changes, if you could notice anything going on or taking place, take note of the signs. Often, they will communicate through non-verbal, either through body language, tone of voice, gesture, or their movement. We should mark that red flag. We are the guardian of their overall well-being. Many a time, without understanding them and timely intervening, we often commit a mistake by just judging them, taking them, and so forth. We are to dive deep in them through thorough discussion and observation, spend time with them. When it is time to rescue them, we are to do it. Do not impose your will to them, but give space to them. Let them be themselves, so they can come out what is going on within themselves. Another story which happened recently in one of our village here in and around Dimapur. An 8-year-old girl was sexually abused by a man in his early 50s. I was told that news had reached even to the DCPO office, but the child's parents hesitated to register the case or file an FIR for the fear of eviction from the village. The most probable reasons are the culprit might have threatened the parents because a nominal judge was passed by the village panchayat court with a very small fine imposed. And from here I could learn that even the village council members, village gambaras in this court also has to be educated, the constitutional right and the protection of the woman and the children. No one cares about the child's future or the brokenness of the parents, how broken they are going through. No one cares about. Can that just amount of fine work, will that work, and is that enough? Where is the justice here? And what can we do in this kind of situation? The power dynamic are overwhelming. Is there no law to bind such people? Maria Montessori said, and I quote, "Children are human beings to whom respect is due, superior to us by reasons of their innocency and the greater responsibilities of their future." Just this day in my neighborhood, a woman and a 10-year-old girl was driven out from home by the underground people with the help of some village council members. The house they live in was locked, and there are some issues. I know that there are some issues within the family, and they have no parents. Parents has died years ago, and the woman keep her siblings, and they live under her earning. She does a small business. I just couldn't share everything in details because of time constraint, but the reasons of my sharing is, as a woman, she has to get protection from the government agencies as well as NGOs. But she's not aware of the availability of resources. She's not getting any help from anywhere. I just passed her the helpline number and said, anytime you need the help, you can give a call. I want to come back to the point. When someone in the family is struggling with mental health issues, we often neglect their emotional needs and instead exacerbate the situation with our reactions. But as much as the physical sickness demands, the same amount of attention is required to take care of mental health issues. We should strive to offer support and understanding. Let's join hands by giving our best by approaching instead of encroaching. Shall we empathize them instead of sympathizing? Can we just understand them instead of analyzing? Addressing issues like abuse, sexual abuse requires multifaceted approach. It involves educating our children first at home.
So when it comes to crime against women or violence against women, and it is very sensitive, and the NGOs, be it Naga Association or be it our State Commission for Women, activists can fight grit again for the case to be, transferable like a charge like any guy. However, one step ahead, and that is to pray for a special prosecutor who can fight for a case in the court of law. So this point I wanted to share with the stakeholders here so that that step can also be taken up. the judiciary, all of you knows, Amigan case submit the way the case investigation and depending on the presentation by the prosecutor and the defense counsel, they pronounce the judgment. The last pillar, the prison, one of the most important pillar here in the criminal justice delivery system. I want to concentrate more on this. Now, in our Naga society, what's happening is, especially in regard to crime against women, offenses committed towards women and young children, most of the cases it gets compromised. Christian the haram lanam pra explanation before here itu kurigana ahirase. I think all of you must be aware of it. In this context, I want to talk about the role of a prison. And again, adding to this, I'm sure all of you knows about the new criminal law that has been rolled out, right? This is to do away with the colonial era mindset because the old criminal laws were enacted during their time. So now, during the British rules, during the colonial era, they were ruling over us. So they had enacted laws, provisions where they can continue with their rule over the Indians, right? So to do away with the colonial era, new criminal laws were introduced. We had started utilizing these new criminal laws last year, July 2024. And we're still in the process of getting ourselves acquainted with it. However, 2 points I want to point out this, and this is in regards to the introduction of community services. The legal system now has come up with community services. Community services clearly introduced because now in prison, who are there? Hardcore criminals are there. We do not want young minds, young souls, young offenders, first-time offenders, to be put together in those locations where they'll be influenced by those people. That is the reason why this provision has been introduced, community service, where when the judge is passing his judgment, he assesses it and he feels that in areas where a person who's been brought in his court, a chance should be given to her, to him or her. In that way, to community service close to Edpura Lagase. Second point is in regard to what prison is all about. I think Amikhan Naga Manukhan itu colonial mindset to all of Thakanis na I've been observing. Itulah context there. Prison, jail, police man braduri shekoladu. That is, it has a very negative connotation. Kandan shandan kan pola pali hojai. They do not want him or her to be confined in that type of location. But one aspect which I want all of us to be aware of, and wherever we go and discuss, or awareness program sakatante, itulah mindset to ulay digena introduce the positive impact prison pillar has been set up. Actual manute arrest kurishe, confined kurigena. He is serving his sentence in the jail, in the prison. It's just 20% of what the prison is supposed to be achieving. The remaining 70 to 80%, it is to reform those individuals who are being confined in the prison. But our Naga mentality, our Naga mindset, beyond police pradhura itu pradhuru jabudi bole mon nathakide. Those people who have been arrested because of the crime, of the offenses they have committed. Now, what's happening here? And that may be the reason why we are hearing frequently the type of offenses, the type of crime that's been committed against women. Because we are aborting, to let it complete its full course. Because in the prison, they have facilities where psychologists are there, counseling diase. They are given life skills. That period of confinement is for them to reflect within themselves. It took period, and they are given life skills as well. Because the way they committed crime, there might be a reason behind that, which we may not be aware of it, but he himself, he knows it, and the prison is set up for that. So it becomes stages that they go through. He's not able to reform himself. All these things are taken care inside the confinement of the prison, because that person is not going to stay inside the prison for life. He'll be released. He'll complete his sentence. And once he's released, we want that he become a positive, contributive member in the community and in the society. So these are the 5 pillars which we all need to be aware of it and let know to our neighbors, to our families, to our friends, so that we develop that positive mindset towards all the cycle that needs to take its course. Since I'm here addressing in regard to crime against women and children, I'll just give in brief about this year's statistics on the crime that we had. Crime reported in Women Police Station in Dimapur. Women Police Station in Dimapur, it covers the district of Chumulirima, Newland, and Dimapur. In regard to complaints received on domestic violence, a meager 11% of the complaint got converted and registered as FIR. Now guess, where did the remaining 89% went? The remaining 89% of those domestic violated report, it got compromised. Christian Dhoram Lanam pra action de mabdishe. So when I talk about the prison initiative,
We all live with the clouds of concerns and anxieties hanging over us, which we feel we can do little about. It is important to acknowledge that we are all carrying many concerns, that we can be quite overwhelmed, and it can be so intense. Peace destroyers and peace builders are everywhere. Injustice, inequalities, dysfunctional relationships, damaging narratives, negative attitudes, and corrupt practices of all kinds destroy the fabric of all societies. On the other hand, courageous individuals and communities carry the hope of peace building. As we look deeper into the complexity of the issues that are surrounding us, we can think that creating peace is beyond us. Every day we are presented with situations where we have the potential to create or to destroy peace. The choice is ours, the choice is yours, the choice is mine. What are you going to do about it? To be effective creators of peace, and which I believe all the people sitting here are all creators of peace, we need peace in our heart first. It doesn't take much to destroy one's inner peace. A small hurt, jealousy, or disruption of plan which challenges underlying issues of shame or self-worth.
For many people, the issues are much greater. They live with daily violence or loss. Whatever the scale, inner peace is so vital to playing an effective part in bringing healing and change to any situation. Authentic, heart-engaged listening invites trust and builds relationships. It allows space for truth-telling and conflict resolving, and it is a key ingredient for creating peace. It is a gift of unselfishness. The journey of forgiveness can be very stressful. Many of the speakers today have spoken about forgiveness. Forgiveness has often put pressure on the people that they must forgive even when they are feeling deeply wounded. It could lead to victim shaming, unconsciously or consciously, or re-traumatize, especially in cases that have got deep trauma, sexual assault, and the like. Sometimes people jump to the steps and forgive while the wound is still festering inside. Forgiveness is an invitation. Forgiveness is an invitation. Forgiveness cannot be demanded. Forgiveness is an invitation. Forgiveness cannot be demanded. Forgiveness never condones hurt or wrongdoings. Abuses of all sorts remain as offense and unacceptable. We are aware that there is a huge lack of peace in the world, in our society too, whether it's in a war zone area or to do with domestic violence. Some here may have experienced and have already experienced, some may have not, yet still long for peace inside. Can real peace exist when social needs are not met or when structural violences exist? Most of our lives are overbusy as we struggle to keep up with the busyness of the world that refuses to slow down. As a result, our lives are reactionary, reacting to each other or situation that comes along. The challenge is to live reflectively, to tune into a source of wisdom deeper than our own, to practice being still and silent, which many of us refuse to slow down. We need to learn how to slow down, to be still, and to be silent. Peace Circle, the work that I'm involved in, gives an opportunity for recentering and finding direction in life. The many women that I've worked in the region in the Northeast, I also had the opportunity to work with the Tibetan community in Dharamsala. I work very closely with the Central Tibetan Exile Government. So I've done work with the Tibetan people also. I've done work across India. And every time that I hear stories about women, it is heartbreaking. And that has brought me today here. And I want to invite somebody over here sitting who has gone through a peace circle that I organize. The peace circle that I do takes 3 days. And it's a process. And I have to
I pledge to never commit, condone, or remain silent about domestic violence, sexual harassment, cybercrime, or any form of violence in our homes, communities, workplaces, and digital places. To raise my voice and help women who are victimized by gender-based violence. To encourage men and women to mentor children to live violence-free. To educate myself and others about healthy relationships. Whenever possible, I will report all known, suspected, or witnessed incidents of violence against any women or child to an agency, organization who can assist the victims.